Reddit's full of wild stories, from quiet revenge to unexpected heroes. Let's get into today's lineup. A bullied kid, a pack of tormentors, and one loyal dog who turned the tables. This Reddit story reminds us, sometimes heroes don't wear capes. They wear collars.
Years of bullying until my dog turned the tables. I was bullied daily since 5th grade. Punched, insulted, ridiculed. Almost the whole class took pleasure in making my life miserable. I never told anyone. I was scared. During 8th grade, it became even worse. 6 of my classmates decided to make my life totally hell before the end of school. I was walking one day around the park at home with Bloomchen, my dog, a Belgian Malinois. She had been given to me from my uncle a year earlier as a gift. She was usually wearing a muzzle, but as we walked through the park, I removed it so she could drink from the lake and receive treats from me when she did tricks. Usually I put it on again after we leave the lake. And then, out of nowhere, 2 of the boys used to bully me appeared behind me, screaming and laughing, "We're gonna kill you and your dog!" while holding sticks in their hands. I sprinted down the walkway, terror propelling me. I turned a sharp bend and I froze. 3 of the other guys were there, 2 with sticks in their hands. My stomach fell. I screamed for help. I thought, we are done. But I was worried more about my dog. Then in the blink of an eye, it was over. Bloomchen had run so fast ahead that I lost her leash out of my hand. She shot like a bullet at the first boy armed with a stick, jump biting his arm and dragging him to the ground. The second boy attempted to club her, but she clamped down on his leg until he fell to the ground. The third boy, eyes wide with fear, turned to run. Bloomchen whirled around, dashing past me, full tilt, into the 2 boys who had been chasing me. She sprang at the first boy, biting the arm in mid-air and slamming him onto the ground. The last boy stood there, bewildered. Bloomchen stood before him, growling and snarling, springing with her front paws and snapping her jaws, as if to tell him not to dare to come closer. At last he ran away too. Then she returned to me. I was still standing there trembling, my heart still pounding. Bloomchen looked up at me expecting a treat. She nudged her head against my hand as if to say, "I was good. Reward me. Let's go play." That night, the police arrived at our home. They questioned me in front of my parents concerning what had occurred. I was frightened. I thought those 5 morons had fabricated a twisted story, and the police were going to take Bloomchen away and kill her. It seems that those lads must have already been familiar to the police for a string of crimes, nipping shop fronts, nicking mopeds and bikes, even shop breaking. But since there was a complaint of dangerous dog assaulting children, the police officers had to investigate. I told them all about it. The bullying, the ambush, how Bloomchen defended me and herself. While I spoke, Bloomchen sat at my side, peacefully leaning her head on one officer's palm and licking his hand, soliciting pets and treats. She rolled over onto her back afterward, soliciting belly rubs. The officers couldn't resist smiling. My dad informed them that his brother was professionally training dogs, and that his dogs bit only when they were defending their family. He then presented them with a certificate stating that Bloomchen had been protection trained since the time she was a puppy. That seemed to have put that one to bed pretty darn fast. The police were off shortly afterwards, and all 5 of the boys were subsequently arrested that evening. I had to give evidence in court as a witness a few months later. 3 of them did time in juvenile jail. Then, I no longer had any issues with bullying. The school gossip was that I was a psychopath, and I would send my military dog on those who teased me. Not a great reputation, but at least it was quiet and peaceful until I graduated 10th grade.
She didn't just save her. She ended years of pain in one moment. Would you call that revenge? Or the purest kind of love? Reddit never runs out of chaos. From good intentions gone wrong to midnight disasters no one saw coming. A late-night hospital trip, a clean bill of health, and then flashing lights outside the house at 3:30 a.m. Here's how one OP accidentally triggered a full police response over an IV line.
Today, I effed up by accidentally triggering a police response at 3:30 a.m. after leaving the hospital 6 hours earlier. This happened last night. I had some chest pain that was persisting, so I went to the ER just to play it safe. They did an EKG, drew blood, and left a small IV in my arm in case they needed it later. By the time I got back to the waiting room, there were twice as many people and barely any seats left. I'd already been there about an hour and a half, and after another hour, My results started showing up in the patient portal. Everything looked good, just like I expected. I knew I probably should have waited for them to take it out, but the staff were swamped. I was starting to feel better, and honestly, I just wanted to get home and in bed at a reasonable hour. Once I got home, I removed it safely with no issues. Fast forward to 3:30 in the morning. My dog suddenly starts barking like crazy. I'm lying in bed half asleep when I start hearing low voices outside, and I see flashes of light from a flashlight hitting my bedroom wall. So I get up to check it out, and there are multiple people at my front door, and one guy actually peering through a window with a flashlight from the backyard. There were 4 cops, EMTs, and even an ambulance outside. No one knocked. Does anyone know if that's standard procedure? For a second, I honestly thought someone close to me had tragically died or something. When I opened the door, they said the hospital had called because I left with the IV still in. This was 6 hours later. I had already removed it safely hours earlier, and what's strange is that the doctor had actually called about an hour and 45 minutes before the police showed up, leaving a voicemail that said all my results were normal and that if I needed anything, they were there. So if there had been an actual concern, I can't figure out why the police were even called that far afterward. Everything's fine, but apparently I triggered a full-blown late-night emergency response over a tiny IV that wasn't even hooked up to anything. My teenage daughter thinks the whole thing is hilarious at least, but now I know not to do this again in the future. TLDR. Left the ER with an IV still in my arm and somehow ended up getting hospital swatted at 3:30 a.m.
No harm, no foul. Just one very confused homeowner and a story the neighbors will never forget. Ever had a harmless mistake spiral this far out of control? The last story was a 3 a.m. wake-up call. This one's a different kind of nightmare, and she didn't even see it coming. This one starts off as a cute first date and ends with someone showing up who definitely wasn't invited.
My mom crashed my date. Literally. So I finally went on a date with this guy I've been talking to for months. We go to this little taco place. Everything's going great. He's funny. I'm not stuttering for once. It's giving potential situationship upgrade. We're sitting outside when I hear a car door slam and someone yell my full name. My government name. It's my mom. Apparently, she just happened to be driving by. The place is 25 minutes from home, and saw me with a man. She marches up to our table like it's parent-teacher conference and goes, "So, this is why you haven't been answering your phone?" I had 3 missed calls because my phone was on silent. I wanted the ground to swallow me whole. My date just awkwardly sipped his horchata while my mom gave him a background check in real time. The worst part? He texted me later saying, "Your mom's kinda scary, but low-key iconic." Do I laugh or cry?
Honestly, I can't decide if this was fate, karma, or just terrible timing. What would you have done? Would you laugh it off? Or block her GPS? From a surprise drop-in to a long-distance line crossing. This next one asks how reachable you should be when the moment isn't supposed to be shared. He was halfway across the world, but somehow still couldn't escape his mother's sense of urgent.
Am I the asshole for not answering my mom's 15 missed calls during my honeymoon? We were in Santorini, second day of our honeymoon, just finished dinner, grilled octopus, cold white wine, the sea almost black under the moon. I left my phone in the room. When we got back, 15 missed calls from Mom, 6 texts saying urgent. My heart dropped. I called right away. She wanted to know if I could check if the plumber had come to her house because the sink still smells weird. I told her, "Mom, I'm in Greece." She said, "You could still text the guy. It takes 2 minutes." My wife laughed softly behind me, trying not to make a scene. I hung up, then turned my phone off again. The next morning, my brother texted, "She's telling everyone you ignored her in an emergency." I looked at the calm blue water and wondered if maybe I really had.
Turns out the only thing that couldn't unplug was his mom. Would you have answered or let it ring?